Okay, so Mervin Spuy was one of the first people that I met actually when I first came back to Canada in 2013. Um, as I was trying to find my feet in the Canadian data industry after working for 23 years, and Mervin was one of the people who was very generous with his knowledge and contacts. So I have a debt of gratitude to him to this day. Mervin, it's great being with you here today. Thanks for joining DMC.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So on March 24th, Mervin, we're going to be speaking about machine intelligence in the final session of our fall winter series. So you'll be delivering a talk on the very broad subject matter of data science, and in that vein, I've got a couple of questions for you. So artificial intelligence and machine learning is growing quickly into the mainstream. Actually, we could say it probably is already in the mainstream. Those organizations that are doing it well are recognizing it as a decisive competitive advantage. So Mervin, I'm interested in your views on this. What 2 or 3 key areas that you recommend that organizations focus on in their AI, ML, or otherwise, or other kinds of data science as they're just getting started?
Well, I think one of the first things every single company very quickly learn is you cannot do any kind of advanced analytics or machine learning or machine intelligence if you don't have data. If you don't have access to your data, if you've got all kinds of nonsense data, you need, at least at a very basic level, access to your data so that you can interpret it, so that you can use it, so that you can leverage it and monetize it, learn from it, and apply it to some of the business problems. I think that would definitely be my first thing. The second thing I always run into is be specific to the business problem you're trying to solve. And don't think that AI is this magic wand that you can fix every single problem with. There's a tool for every job, and make sure that you pick a problem that is suitable for AI, machine learning, deep learning, whatever your tool is that you're going to be using. And when you apply that technology, build it around your business outcome that you're looking for. There's a lot of academics and researchers and people playing with AI that are looking and innovating and researching what it could possibly do for us. But in an enterprise landscape, when you're working as a company trying to deliver a service to your customers, you need to be very pointed at this is the problem we're solving and how best can we solve that problem. Beautiful thing about leveraging machine learning is sometimes we get the answer that says, nope, you cannot do this. And it's not a failure that you couldn't solve the problem. You always get an answer, well, you can't solve it this way, and you learn something from that, and it drives you towards that next part. So that always helps. And then the third thing that I would say is extremely important is don't try and bite off too much. Start small and constantly iterate on that problem, on that solution that you're trying to build. And as you go through those iterations, you'll grow and mature to a place where you can start adding on more capability, leveraging more data sets, including more features that you can start looking if this really does make a difference or not, and start leveraging some of the latest AI technologies. Don't just jump in right at the end and try and do it all at once. It really does create more of a mess than it does actually solving any business problems.
Perfect. Super. I love that feedback on using the feedback loop actually to learn and iterate back. I think that's actually a really key piece of advice there. A second question for you, Mervin. The analytics landscape, which you and I have been working in quite intimately for a number of years, is becoming increasingly crowded with architectures and solutions. So I'm curious from your point of view, Mervin, what methodologies, architectures, and technologies do you see surviving the test of time in the modern innovative analytics organization?
Oh man, that is a very difficult question. I think there's so many nuances you've got to take into consideration. Every company is different. And I believe that if you if you try and solve your specific problem and you create a architecture and you leverage methodologies and technologies that work for you specifically, you'll have a good chance of surviving. I don't think there's a one answer or one correct answer for everybody. Some companies rely heavily on on-premise capabilities. They can leverage a cloud component to that. So from a technology point of view, they have a bit of a hybrid solution. A lot of the new technology startups can run perfectly well with a 100% cloud-based solution. And they have different problems. They don't think that being in the cloud is any cheaper or easier than being on-prem. It's just a different solution and a different way of leveraging technologies. Technically, you're just working on somebody else's computers, if you want to really simply put it as straightforward as you can. But from methodology's point of view, I honestly think, especially in the data and in analytics fields, the whole agile approach, and you don't have to get into the details. It doesn't matter if you're going completely Scrum or Kanban or how you approach it. It needs to work within your company's infrastructure, your organizational culture, your maturity level. But I think having an agile approach so that you can iterate and constantly evolve and grow, I do believe that aligns very, very well with machine learning and advanced analytics. The other thing that I feel very passionately about is more of a business architecture, and that is the concept of self-service. There are so many companies that IT teams and business teams are still at each other's heads, constantly smacking heads at trying to tell the other one how to work. And you need to get to a point where you enable the business to do their job instead of trying to ring fence all of those capabilities within IT. The divide between IT and business is something that is old school and really shouldn't be there anymore. If you enable the business to leverage these capabilities and you spend your time making sure they've got access to the data, the tools, the training they need to use it properly, and you help them to evolve their capabilities, you start moving to a world where, I mean, 20 years ago, if you had Excel as a skill on your CV, you stood out from everybody else. Now, if you don't know how to use Excel, you're not working because it's a basic component of everybody's job. Everybody uses Excel now. And I believe analytics is just the evolution of that. That's the new tool where we used to do predictive analytics in Excel. Now you can start using self-serve reporting and any of the platforms. It really doesn't matter. But you're able to use these intuitive reporting platforms to drive that capability further. And now we're starting getting into a space where self-serve machine learning is coming into play, where you don't have to be a physicist or a PhD 3 times over to be able to leverage machine learning or those capabilities of AI. You can be an engineer, an accountant, a business specialist that knows your area. And the same way that you use Excel to present your data and interrogate it, you can now use tools like Data Robot, or one of the best platforms here out of Calgary is, now I forgot the platform's name. Oh, me and my names. But it's one of those capabilities that you want to really leverage, but put it in the people's hands and teach them how to use it so that they can actually leverage that capability and come up with better answers based on more information to solve those business problems better. That truly data-driven architecture is truly what you're trying to achieve.
Indeed, no, really great insights again, and I agree with many of your points, and of course the importance of training and facilitating through obviously making the right tools and technologies available to the teams is, of course, is also empowering. So Mervin, very much looking forward to our event on the 24th. I thank you again for agreeing to share your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.